Hey, St. Peter's. It's good to see you today. I want to give a brief reflection today about what's been sustaining me during the pandemic. In early March, when the pandemic first started, my life was just crazy busy. I'm the academic dean at General Seminary, and so a lot of my time was spent working with faculty and students in preparing everyone to learn and teach online. And after the first couple of weeks, we settled into that normal that's been the case for so many of us for the last several months of working remotely and trying to navigate life when you're bouncing between fear and anxiety and boredom. And one of the things that really suffered for me was my prayer life. When I joined General Seminary years ago, one of the things that really struck me and moved me spiritually was the regular rhythm of morning and evening prayer in our chapel. And I had known that having a spiritual discipline like morning and evening prayer would be good for me, but until coming to General, it had always been a real struggle. And so I found that twice a day engagement with prayer, intentional engagement with Scripture, memorizing by heart things like, of course, the Lord's Prayer and the creeds, but also some of the canticles that are part of morning and evening prayer, and getting that language really woven into me helped me really grow in my experience of faith. And when the pandemic hit, our daily chapel services went away, and most of us were struggling with, keeping our spiritual lives going on our own. One of the vows that I made when I was ordained a deacon in December, and I'll make the vow again today when I'm ordained a priest, is to daily engage in the Word and the prayers. And that to me means, one of the disciplines for that is morning and evening prayer. So I was speaking with my spiritual director about this, and I said also, I really feel like what's also struggling in my life is I'm not very active, because I was spending most of my time either on the close where I live or in my apartment. And I had just like a couple months before started a gym membership and was going to the gym every day. And so I was like, oh my gosh, all of my disciplines, my workout, my prayer life, it's all gone to pot. So we talked about the need to get some discipline back in my life. And so I bought a rowing machine, and then a couple of weeks later I bought a bicycle, and I took to listening to morning prayer while I was working out. And I listened to a morning at the office or evenings at prayer, which are two podcasts produced by Forward Movement. And I encourage everyone I talk to subscribe to this podcast. And it's 15, 20 minutes. It's not a huge commitment, but you get to pray along the daily office with the rest of the church. And one of the benefits of praying the daily office is, of course, you pray through the Psalms every month, which is a great accomplishment. And then you're following this daily office lectionary, which steps through an Old Testament reading, an epistle, or a New Testament reading, and a gospel every day. And you really get a sense of like the story as it's unfolding. And, they say you never step in the same river twice, that saying. And I really feel that that's true with Scripture, because even though a lot of these stories are super familiar and, every other year you read the same lectionary cycle, but every time I listen to it, it's like God is saying something new through these stories. So today I'm on my bike and I'm in Eastern Washington, and I just rode for about 45 minutes. I listened to the morning prayer podcast, and it's a great way to start my day, and it's how I try to keep spiritually and physically in tune during the pandemic. And then once I finish my morning prayer podcast, then it's time for my my workout mix with Britney Spears and Demi Lovato. So it's not all just like sacred time. But yeah, that's what's been keeping me going throughout the pandemic. And I encourage you to think about spiritual practices that can nourish you also. Have a great week.